Please, everybody, help me welcome Pavel to the stage.
Austin is a very busy real estate agent and has too many tasks to handle on his own. He is getting frustrated and needs help with the details so that he can focus on income-generating tasks. In his search for help, Austin came across Virtudesk. To his amazement, his virtual assistant was able to handle the tedious day-to-day tasks that he has no time for, such as administrative tasks, or even prospecting and scheduling his listing appointments. His virtual assistant also does his marketing and transaction coordination from start to finish. Virtudesk assistants are equipped with high-speed internet and tracking software, so that Austin can see what his assistant is doing at all times. He is now free to go to listing appointments and be more hands-on with his clients, knowing that everything else is being taken care of by Virtudesk.
Well, looks like this little commercial did everything, the talking that I had to do, right? I want to say thank you to David. David, thank you for having us here, and thank you for your service to our country. I guess everybody would agree with me, right? Yes. Amazing energy and amazing host. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about the most valuable asset that everybody has. And not a lot of people probably realize that, but the most valuable asset is actually time. You know, they say rich people trade time for money. Wealthy people do it vice versa. They trade money for time. More time to spend with a family, more time to actually enjoy life, and to do things that you're really passionate about. I see, well, this room is filled with real estate agents, I assume, right? How many of you actually broker owners here? Let me see the show of hands. All right. How many of you are team leaders? How many of you are CEOs of your own companies? Good. Everybody is a CEO. Excellent. So, which means you guys running your business as a business. That's the way it's supposed to be. So, you know what separates a good business from a great business, right? It's basically good business is where you work in a business that makes you a living, pays for your bills, and great business works for you, which means you could step out of it and the business will run on its own. You can enjoy your vacation on Miami Beach, your business will be running. You want to sell it, it's sellable. So we hear a lot about, recently on social media, recent years, you hear about hustle. It's basically like, I call it porn hustle. Because hustle porn, because everybody says it's hustle, it's a new trend. And there's a lab coat agents that Tristan Ahumada and Nick say, leverage is a new hustle. So, how do I go back on this? Yeah, so the influencers like Gary Vee, they say about hustle, but basically, you know what those guys do, right? They leverage. Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, those guys leverage time. They hire people who work for them so they can do what they do best. They can concentrate on the 20% of the activities which will bring them 80% of the income. That's the way it works. It always has. And there's a famous Pareto rule that's been discussed many years ago, and everybody should know about it. As your agents, like any business, should have a system. So as you guys know, business without a certain system in place is like a roller coaster. Today you're making money, tomorrow you're not making money. And again, when your business is built on systems, that's when business becomes sellable. That's the way my business runs right there. The systems that I put you, that's the way my business runs. I have separate people for operations, HR, recruitment, and management, and a separate sales department and marketing. That's the way it works, and they don't interrelate to each other. I was not used to be that way. I used to be a my little bit about my story. In 2012, I graduated law school. I sat for the bar exam, was waiting for my bar results, and got sucked into the real estate by accident. I actually passed the bar, but I'm not practicing law. But anyway, I got sucked into the real estate by accident where I was serving a client. I represented a client, and they needed to do a short sale. So we used to refer those deals to an attorney, to the realtor. And the realtor was out of country on vacation. So I figured, well, I might as well go get a license and sell the house myself, since the realtor was out of country. Took me, like half an hour probably to prep for the test, since I was actually exempt from studying, as having law degree. And when I took the test, sold the house, figured out it's a pretty nice hustle. But the thing is, I was a solo agent for several years before I realized that there's a way for me to grow. So let me just give you a little bit of my story here. I'm sorry. So in my year when I didn't have a VA, I worked about 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week, sometimes more. Who can relate to that? How many agents are you guys? Who works here more than 40 hours a week? What about more than 50 hours a week? 80. Anybody works 80 hours? I can see that. You need my help. You do. You should come to our booth and talk to this guy right there. We'll set you up. So I was working in 2013, the market was actually pretty good, and I was working about 80 hours a week and only making about 300 GCI a year in Seattle, okay? So, and I was doing everything. I was running basically like a hamster in a hamster wheel. I was doing, talking to clients. I was negotiating deals, writing my own contracts, did my own marketing, did all the administrative stuff, MLS input. I was driving on the go. I was entering properties into the MLS. No professional photographer, just did it with my cell phone. Boom, boom, boom. Then I hired a virtual assistant to help me with prospecting. What she did for me, she was basically calling and scheduling appointment for me to meet with for sale by owners. That's what I did. I went to meet with for sale by owners. So my production didn't really increase that much, but at least I actually delegated some of the work that I was only working 40 hours a week, which was an improvement, even though the production money-wise was the same, but improvement was I had more time to spend with my family. The next year, my GCI went up to 450 right there, and I was working still 40 hours. Then in 2016, I cleared 600K in GCI, and my only job was to go on appointments, sign contracts, and negotiate deals. So that's what you, as the productive agent, should be actually doing. Go to appointments, sign contracts, negotiate deals, serve your clients. Because when you actually spend your time on those menial tasks like entering the MLS, ordering photography, ordering title, or putting key box, driving to put in the flyers or install flyer box, create flyers, negotiate the inspection items. Those menial tasks, they actually take so much of your time that you end up doing the work that essentially costs $10 an hour. So when you are in a production and you making about $1,000 an hour or more because your deals, that's what you negotiate, that's what you work for. When you take that time out of your schedule and doing tasks that cost you $10 an hour, you essentially working for $10 an hour. Did you ever think about it? I did, and when I did the math, it wasn't really pretty, because spending time doing things like real estate is fun. However, you gotta be able to slow down and smell the roses. You gotta at least enjoy life, because you never know. So I started the company Virtudesk. It's one of my companies I run, Virtudesk. We have a booth right there, and mainly things what we do, we have virtual assistants who help with the tasks that I'm talking about. The cost of hiring a virtual assistant is very minimal. It's like $8.60 an hour. So you can delegate anything from prospecting, somebody call you for sale by owners, or expireds, or your database. I know Nick Bolden from Lab Code Agents. He has virtual assistant calling his database, and that actually, and they get about 2-3 appointments a day That's buyer's appointments or seller's appointments. Some clients we have, they have. I know some of you XP agents here may want to hear about it. They have VA calling prospective agents and schedule coffee dates. So when you schedule a coffee date, then you can come meet with these agents and obviously recruit. So you can use VA for recruiting. Administration tasks, this is what I was talking about. It's MLS. It's basically MLS, marketing, Facebook advertising, creating ads for your listings, creating flyers for open houses, schedule open houses, all admin work. Same goes for TC. TC is anywhere from contract to closing. I have an agent in my brokerage in Seattle that closes about $20 million a year in production, and he doesn't know how to input listing into the MLS. He doesn't do it. He's never done it. He delegates it. So our virtual assistants, they're located in the Philippines. And as you guys know, Philippines is a major outsource hub for the world because they're English-speaking country. They speak English. They major companies like American Express, Bank of America, Comcast, they outsource their call centers there. So people trained in cold calling, trained in handling customer complaints, and they have a very high tolerance level, unlike us in the U.S. Seriously, I admire those people. I admire the shit they have to take sometimes from customers, but this is something. And this is me with my team. We have a management team there. And let me run you through like how we do things there. The hiring process. We receive about 300 resumes a day from people who want to work for us. So our main thing is concentrating on the quality, not quantity. So what do? We end up interviewing about 80 of those because, again, a good 2/3 actually don't qualify according to the resumes they send because we have higher requirements for the experience, for the knowledge of English, for the systems. Then we do background check. A lot of them don't pass background check. We're verifying with previous employers. We have like what it's called NBI background check. It's FBI grade type of background check. We want to make sure they're legit. We want to make sure they don't have any criminal record. They don't have any prior misconduct with employment. Then those people, they go into training. After training, they have to graduate. And as you can see, from 30 people who usually go into training, only 5 end up being hired. It's a very selective process, and it's hard to find good people. However, we still manage to do that. For that, we run extremely, expensive campaigns for recruiting there, but it is what it is. Because those people, they work from home. Since they work from home, they gotta be, it's a lonely job. So you gotta have strong psychology to work from home all the time and to take rejection. Imagine those people calling for sale by owners every night because they work at night. When it's daytime in the U.S., it's nighttime in Manila. With Miami and Manila, there's 12-hour time difference. So they work at night, and imagine all night you're hearing no's. So you got to have some strong psychology behind it. So when you hire, let's compare some cost. When you hire a virtual assistant, comparing having somebody in the U.S., I always tell people, if you can afford it, have both. The reason is, I run a brokerage, and I have in-house assistant, plus we have several VAs. They work hand in hand. Because my in-house assistant, she cannot go crazy helping all agents that we have. That's why we have VAs who help my in-house assistant be productive. But this is just a basic comparison cost of what it really costs to hire a full-time employee in Seattle. I don't know, in Miami it's actually maybe a little bit different, but not going to be much. $20 an hour, that's pretty much what you pay somebody in Seattle qualified enough to do the work. But it's not a reality. It comes down to $20 because you have to have payroll tax, you have to have some sort of benefits, then you have overhead, which is you have to provide the computer, internet, you have to provide the office space. So we did some math, and the numbers don't lie. Obviously, if you hire virtual assistants for $8.60 an hour, comparing to hiring somebody for 37 in the US, you save about close to 60 grand a year. It's no brainer, right? No brainer at all. So how do we observe our virtual assistants? One of those challenges we faced, first of all, like if somebody's working from home remotely, how do you know they're actually doing their work? How do you know that instead of entering your MLS listing, they're not just watching Netflix? How do you make sure that everything is done right? Besides having the accountability coach that's assigned to this person, that's actually closely monitoring, we have what it's called a workforce management. Workforce manager monitors the software that we have. It's called Timely. It's a proprietary software where you as a customer can access the screenshots that system automatically takes. You not only see when a virtual assistant logs in and logs out, you have a real-time observation of the screenshots that provides you the information as far as what your virtual assistant is doing. We saw some crazy shit. But you have to have it. Because human factor, as I say, technology is great, but nobody ever canceled out the human factor in life or in business, for that matter. So we have a booth here in the lobby. You should come and talk to us. And if you want to get a copy of this presentation, just text leverage to this number, and we'll send you the slides. And at the same time, we can also send you, if anybody's interested in receiving free scripts for sale by owners and expires that we've developed, and especially for pre-foreclosures, because when I was in production, my virtual assistant was calling a lot of pre-foreclosures, and that's where I get a lot of my business. Because when you call pre-foreclosures, guess what? Nobody else is calling them. Everybody's calling FSBO. Everybody's calling expired. If it's a pre-foreclosure, usually it's crickets. Nobody calling them. Sometimes people don't even know that they have to sell their house or get out from the mortgage. So when the market shifts, and looks like, I don't know what's the situation in South Florida right now, but most likely you'll experience again some short sales. And having an assistant that would actually schedule your appointments with those people who have issues with the paying mortgage to list the house, this is going to be valuable. So again, feel free to text leverage to this number to receive a copy of this presentation and copy of the scripts. And I have 3 minutes left. I can do some Q&A if you have some questions. No questions? Sorry? Nah. Minimum amount of hours we have, it's 20 hours a week. 20 hours a week, and maximum, obviously, 40 hours. We have people who hire them for 12 a day. I usually suggest not to have one person work 12 hours a day because they need to rest. And especially if somebody calling for sale by owners for 12 hours, it's not going to be productive.
And do you have monthly subscriptions, or is it a yearly thing, 6 months, or what?
We have a minimum contract, 90 days. Yeah, 90 days. A lot of, sometimes people, what they do, they want to try it out for a month, for 30 days, without a commitment. So we allow them to do that, just to, get a 30-day trial, and a lot of them actually love their VAs and stay with them. No other questions? All right, then I'm just going to wrap it up, and I'm going to pass the mic to David.